Did you ever move into a new place with a weird corner like I did this year? It has all the normal corners, like this is where I pretend to read. This is my zombie Christmas corner. The fridge lives in this corner. This is the corner for dead leaves. This is the corner where I pretend to write. And then there's this corner. Damn it, James. James, we talked about this, huh? You're not in this series. Let's get you back in that writer's chair. Okay, I'm gonna have to do this in a romantic way. And here we are. Sorry about that. James is a little bit of a prankster. There's this corner, and I was sitting over there one night, writing, definitely not drinking any whiskey, and I got a little nostalgic. And for some reason that night, I Googled the Return of the Living Dead Part 3 on VHS, which I bought 1 week later. And I bought it because I looked at it in awe and I said, this belongs in a museum. I know that that's like such a weird thing to say, but I've always been such a huge fan of VHS cover art, book art, video game art, and really anything in the world of zombies. I feel like for the last 20 years, I'm always falling in love with a new zombie story every year. When I talk to people about just kind of this continual fascination or interest in zombies, I'm often met with blank stares, and it's different from horror fans. It's its own genre, and it's now gotten to a point where there is over 100 years of zombie history. Now, if you search for the Zombie Museum, or if you search for any sort of zombie museum, you are going to see the Museum of the Living Dead, which is about George Romero. So it really covers his 6 Living Dead movies, other things that he's like produced or championed, but it is more like movie memorabilia, and it's less a kind of like a Library of Congress for zombie media. That thing doesn't exist, and in this night where I definitely was substance free and it wasn't 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning, I decided to buy the graded sealed copy of Return of the Living Dead Part 3 and turn this weird corner into a museum of zombie media. If that sounds like the dumbest thing you've ever heard, well, I am just getting started. So for the past several months, I have been acquiring a lot of unique or rare or sealed or signed zombie media. But overall, you can see that I haven't actually put anything together yet. And that is because I already have wrapped up all of those packages for Christmas. And I am inviting my best friends over, and we are going to unbox them in what is called Zombie Christmas. So I wanted to start a series where I just see the slow physical transformation of this space as I add more and more artifacts to it. And I like calling them artifacts. All right, so if you're still with me, you might have some curiosities. One might be about this ribbon behind me, which is definitely Christmas paper, and that's because at the end of the video, we are going to do a ribbon cutting ceremony and officially open the museum with its first prized artifact. So at some point, there might be some questions about, well, where does all of this interest in zombies stem from? I don't know. I honestly can't explain it. And I never really try to either. I accept it simply as a fact of life. Not all life, just mine. I like peanut butter, I like staying up late, and I like me some zombies. Another question that might come my way at some point is, am I an expert in the history of zombie media? No, never an expert. I really dislike that word. Even in my first career, when I could have been considered an expert and I could have flaunted that label, I overtly rejected it. I never liked the concept. I am always a fool, never an expert. It is my most natural environment. It is like my default factory setting. I enjoy being alive so much more when I am curious and when I'm confused and when I'm bumbling and mumbling, when I'm just trying to figure things out. And while I don't have expertise, I do have experience, and that experience has accumulated quite a bit over 25 years of movies and games and books. So I have seen a lot, but there's also a lot that I have not. I haven't seen a lot of the classics. There are things that have made a lot of waves just in the last decade that I haven't touched. But that's kind of the point of doing this. I'm going to watch and read and play all of those things anyway at some point in my life. So now I'm just doing it with a camera. I think another initial curiosity that's going to come up is, why start now? And, I'm 39 years old. I just finished up my second book. And 7 years ago, when I started to prioritize creativity after leaving my first career, I really wanted to be a writer. And I really did make that the anchor to my lifestyle. And it has been very fruitful overall. And it's been very rewarding overall. If you are a lover for words, finding a way and a reason to prioritize being a writer in your schedule, that's a very spiritually fulfilling thing. I've done that for 7 years now. And there's a big part of that itch that has been scratched. A lot of that stuff, though, a lot of those creative energies and forces, those are all done pretty much in secret. I used to share things on Instagram, and then at some point that became kind of pressurized within itself, and I really needed to go on a lot of different writing journeys. And I've gotten to a point where I feel very comfortable with who I am as a writer and a lot of the different swings that I've taken and a lot of different changes that I will continue to explore. And I'm ready just to try something new creatively. And finally, you might be thinking, that's a pretty slim museum you got there, bub. Pretty bare bones. What sits behind me, we're going to fill that out bit by bit, brick by brick, once a month. And tonight, we are starting with the artifact that started it all. Return of the Living Dead Part 3, sealed and graded, to officially open the Museum of Zombie Media. And doesn't that sound like a pretty good use for a weird corner in your new place? There she is. This movie is so good. It's like a romantic drama and a zombie movie. In the early 90s, during the dark times of zombie storytelling, and they really got it right. This is just like such a hidden gem, such a dark horse in the history of zombie stories. And I am very excited to open up the museum with it, because without this, I don't think that this whole thing happens. Let's get started. Okay. December 17th, 2025. I hereby declare the Museum of Zombie Media open. Perfect. I'm just gonna put it right here. Okay. It begins.